I want to tell you, I'm super excited to teach and to just show you my knowledge of water dowsing. And this is super interesting. And I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to me to make me believe in it. Because I didn't believe in it. I thought it was a bunch of crap. I went out and did some research, and there's all this stuff on there that witching, and uh, you you start believing that it's whatever. Those rods aren't really swinging when you're holding them in your hand. It's people are moving their wrists around, and there's I didn't believe it. So we went ahead and on our property that we just bought, and I go, I'm going to show you where the well is going to be drilled, and I want it drilled right here because it's convenient, and that's all that matters. We're going to find water right here just like we would over there. All right, so the well guys don't care. They're sure, where do you want it? Right there, And so they drilled down, and they found a little water at around 100 feet, 125 feet, I think it was. And then it wasn't enough though. It was like 3 gallons a minute, and that's not near enough. You want at least, somewhere over 12 to 15, somewhere 12 gallons a minute, they said would be pretty good. And anything over that would be even better and better, because you might have problems with the bank giving you loans and stuff like that. So we went ahead and drilled, and we went down. They went down and down and down, and at 350 feet, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then at 400 feet, they stopped because I told them to stop at 400 and call me. And they called me, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And it was like, just stop, man. Okay, I'm going to get somebody to come out and do some dowsing. So I found this guy that was recommended to me. His name was Colin. I'll never forget this guy. He's 75 years old. And him and his wife come out, and he gets out of the car with his little guy, and with his cowboy boots on, and he has stuffed his pant legs down into his cowboy boots, and his wife just sit in the car reading a book. And he just goes to walking back and forth, just a grid pattern, just walking back and forth. I bet he spent 45 minutes, maybe an hour, all around. And finally he found the spot. And I'm like, okay, I got to see this, I got to watch. So the wind was kind of blowing. I thought, well, that'll move the rods around. And then he showed me, he walked with these rods, and sure enough, in this one spot, they were swinging. But I was watching his wrist, and I could have sworn I saw his wrist moving a little bit. And I go, yeah, he's trying to fool me. He only charged $100, but back then that's quite a bit of money too, just to give to somebody without them, providing a good service. So I'm thinking that it's whatever, and I'm like, I want to do it, but I didn't say anything. He goes, here, you try it. So he hands me his rods. I go, yeah, I got to see this. So I walked through there, and those rods swung so fast, and I'm trying to like kind of hold my wrists out so they wouldn't swing. They came around real hard and hit me in the side of the neck. I'm like, no, I don't believe this. So I went back. I kept going back and forth, man, because I didn't believe it. And those rods were swinging, and there's no doubt about it. So if anybody tells you that these rods don't really swing, that it's you're channeling energy and you're doing weird things with your hands, well, they don't know what they're talking about. They really don't know what they're talking. These rods actually swing. I don't know what causes them to swing. I don't know. And the wooden type, I've done those too, and they really do dip. And I don't know what causes it to do it. I don't understand it, and I don't think anybody really does. So we'll leave that at that. But I'm telling you right now, they definitely swing. So he goes, it was funny because he goes, I did the same grid pattern he did, and so that was right in the center of where those rods were swinging. And he drives a stake into the ground, and he goes, you drill right here. He goes, you not over there and not over there. He goes, right here. This is where the hole needs to be, right here. And I thought it was kind of funny because I'm sure you could probably find water if you were 10 feet off, but I don't know. I went by what this guy said. Well, they drilled the well right there and found water. Seemed like it was about 230 feet right in there. and we had a ton of water. We had plenty of water. I think it was somewhere around 18 to 20 gallons a minute, you know, that they said that we had there. So we never had any issues with water at all when we were at that house. So then at our last house, we're on the side of a mountain, and my wife's like, we should hire a professional dowser. And I'm like, well, we can do the same thing the professionals do. You walk around with rods, you know, and you search the area out real good. And she really didn't want to, you know, and finally she gave in. I'm like, right on. So her and I both got out there, and we're going all around where the house is going to be. And I found a spot that I liked. It wasn't a real strong hit with the rods, but I found a place there, and I was willing to drill right there. And she kept looking, and she found a spot further away from the house, further up the hill, up the side of the mountain than the house and all, but she, come here and check this out, you know. So I went over there and checked it out. Sure enough, it was a real small area, probably no more than 8 or 10 feet in diameter. But when you hit that spot, they swung hard and strong. It was a strong hit every time. I even got a piece of wood, you know, the wooden ones with it. I went out and found me a nice stick to do it with that, and yeah, a Y in the piece of wood, and you hold it a certain way, and it was snapping down too at that spot. So we drilled the well right there, found water. That one was see, 330 feet where they set the well pump. They drilled down over 500 feet because they wanted to get down low enough to where the water would fill up into the hole, so you got more of a reservoir there. And oh man, over 25 gallons a minute. Beautiful water. We didn't have to filter it. It was the best tasting water. And so my wife and I did it. Anybody can do this, including you. I'll show you what I know, and I'm telling you right now, there's a good chance it'll work for you, but it's not 100%. Nothing is for sure. Even the geologists, when they come out and they do their geology study and all that, there's no guarantees there either. So no matter what, it's not 100%, but I think your chances are going to be better. And if you douse it yourself, you're going to save yourself some money too, as long as you find water. All right, well, let's get started. I'm going to grab my rods and lead you through what I know about dowsing. All right, the rods you use, the metal type, I don't think it matters, because I've tried copper, I've tried or brass, you know, about the same. It works. I've tried aluminum, it worked, and mild steel works. So I kind of like mild steel better. It's easier to find, and it seems, I don't know, for me it seems like it was swinging, the rods would swing a little bit better with mild steel, but you can use coat hanger wire even, you know, that it works. It's kind of thin. I like something a little thicker than that. These, I believe, they look like they're a little less than 1/8 of an inch in diameter. These are probably like 80 or 90 thousandths. They're weld rods. That's the rods that welders use when they're TIG welding. That's what these are. And you could go different lengths. This looks to be probably say 20 inches long, something like that. But my wife likes them a little bit shorter. She likes them about like that. But I kind of like them long like this. I painted these orange so we could see them a little better in the video. And then you hold the rods. You want to keep your hands, like, try to keep everything level. Don't, yeah, because you can, like, I can make them swing standing right here. I could tilt my hands in and make them swing, but you don't want to do that. And you're going to go back and forth multiple times in the area that you think is a good area, and you're going to make sure you're not doing that with your hands. That's one of the things you got to be. And then on a windy day, the wind might be blowing them around, so you got to kind of watch that too. But you just hold them out like this, about the width of your shoulders, you know, somewhere right around there. And when they swing, they'll come in, and then you'll come out the other side of it, and then they'll go back out. And you're not going to be doing anything with your hands. You're going to hold them just as straight as you can. But yeah, see, I can sit here, I can make them swing with my hand. They'll swing around, but you're gonna hold. If you kind of hold them down just a little, they stabilize better. You know, if you hold them up like this, they get all wobbly and want to just go everywhere. So you can drop them down just a little bit, like not a whole lot, just a little bit, because you want them to be sensitive. So something like that, you know, just to keep them more stable. And walk a grid pattern. So here we go. I'm going to start walking a pattern right in this area right here, and we'll see what we find. There's a spot here I've already got picked out, just to let you know. So I had to, because this could take a long time. If you might spend all day, you might spend 2 days, you might spend an hour or two. It just depends, you know. So I'll show you what I do. Okay, start walking. So you want to walk in these long lines, move over about 5 to 10 feet, and then walk back. Move over about 5 to 10 feet, and then walk back. So it's just a grid pattern you're doing like that. And then if you start getting a hit, that's what these are for. We're going to mark it, and then you can go across. After you mark it this way and put your stakes down, then you go back the other direction and see what you find that way, and just kind of study it that way. And to let you know, the geologist guys, they're not full of BS, because they know what they're doing too. I mean, what some of those guys are doing for sure is they're doing studies from wells that have been drilled in the area, and that's something that you should do too, is find out in the area of the land that you buy, maybe before you buy, is a good idea, of how deep those wells are, if they're finding water, and how deep they are. It's all it's not that hard to find if you go on the you know, the county websites. You can find that well depths of you know, people that have drilled in your area. In this particular area right here, the wells are between like 300 and 350 feet is pretty average. So that's where we will probably find water. And some of these dowsers will say they're so good, they can tell you the depth, and they'll try to nail it down within 20 feet or so. No, I still don't believe that. You know, there's a lot of stuff I don't really believe, but the geologists will do that kind of study. And another thing you should do, not just this, look at the contours of your land. Is there a river or a creek over here? Does your land kind of go down like this and then level off where the water's flowing, and you know, it could be pooling in right there, and the water, you know, goes down to an underground aquifer right there, and that would be a good spot. That's where I'd want to go with these first, you know, is to check those kind of areas. So do your like geological survey too, where you're looking at the contours of the land and try to imagine how the water is flowing and settling and all that. So anyway, you're going to do that grid pattern back and forth, and then when you start hitting them, we're going to use these. So let's go over here and I'll show you how these rods work. All right, here we go. Now it's pretty subtle in here. It's not that one of them real strong one hits like I had on that first well that we doused. A little bit, okay. That was too subtle. We're gonna go back on our grid pattern. Gonna walk over a little bit. Now we're gonna come through here. All right, here we go. Got the rods hanging down a little bit to stabilize them, keeping wrist perfectly still, walking along, and there they go. And now I'll keep going. All right, they come back out. So it's not a real big area. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take these, I'm going to put one here. That's where it's started. That's where the rods came out, and they started somewhere right in here. So I've got those little flags sitting there where the rods were swinging. Let's go back through there. You don't want to do it just once. You want to make sure. So you will go back and forth a couple times and just see. I'm going to go off to the left side here a little bit and see if I can still get a hit right in there. All right, so now I'm back about 20, 25 feet away from where we got the swing. And we're going to start doing it again. Everything's good. Start walking. Not quite as strong, but definitely something there. And then they go back out. Okay, so that wasn't quite as strong as where I put the flags. So I'm going to go back on now I'm going to go on the other side of the flags a little bit. All right, here we go. There they go. That was stronger than the other way. And then they come back out. So then I'm going to take and put a flag down here. That was about right there. This was in a little bit from this other one. All right. Now I'll move over. I'm just moving, since we got a hit, I'm moving about 5 feet at a time now. That did seem a little weaker than that one, though. But let's see what happens here. Okay. Definitely weaker. Got these trees in my way. All right. You kind of want to get back away from where they were swinging and get your rods stable where they're pointing out, and then come into it, walk into it. You don't want to stand in the middle of where they're swinging and then start from there. Yeah, I can feel it. You can kind of see it. It's definitely moving. And one of the things that I've read and guys will say is, like, if you're walking and one of them's swinging kind of hard, like let's just say it's swinging like that, well, they say that could be pointing to something and over to the right-hand side of you over there. So you might want to try that. I've tried it, and sometimes it does seem to work, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's something that you should know. Like, if that one's pointing that way, and this one's not really moving too much, we'll run over to the left, make a grid pattern to the left, and try that. All right, so now I'm going to go back over here to this side one more time. Let's see what we got. Yep. Okay. I'm going to put, because I'm seeing something here. They're swinging back out about here, and they're starting their swing right here. So it looks like I can kind of see a line. See how those little flags are lined up? Now, over here, where it's coming out, we kind of got the same thing going on. They all kind of line up. So now let's try going the other direction. Let's just see what happens if I get back here. We got to nail this down. We want to drive a stake in a spot, the best spot possible. Okay, that's pretty mild, but seems about right there. So we're, all right. All right, then they want to swing out. So let's try that again. Start from over here. I'm just going right down in the middle of where we got those lines of where we got the flags. I go over here. Oh, whoa, that went pretty quick right there. All right, so I'm gonna put, it's right here, well, which is right in right in the middle. So let's try it again. I'm gonna kind of go right down through here. Here we go. Yep. Get over here a little bit. This stuff's so crazy to me. I still can't believe it works like this, but it does. All right, right there. All right, then come back out. I'm gonna go over here. Right there. So it's right where I got this little flag right here. I mean, all this whole area. So what I would do in this case is get right in the middle of these two rows of arrows, like that little row and that little row of flags, I mean. And then it seemed like right in the center here where I got that one, and it's pretty close. I mean, there's probably about a, I don't know, 3 to 4 foot diameter in there that you know, it'd be a pretty good area. But then we're going to take, this is pretty important right here, actually. You don't want to lose your spot. I mean, you could always come back out here, you know, the general area, and you can do it again, but you don't want to be losing your spot, because it might be, you know, a month or two before the well drillers can get out here, or maybe even longer than that. So you take the spot that you like and find you a good stake to put into the ground and hammer that baby down in there. Hammer it in there real good. Tell you what I'm doing. I got this, I think they use these things for concrete work or something. Yeah, make sure you don't lose that spot. That's where you want to do it, right there. I'd even like maybe pile some rocks around it or something. So if the cows come through here or whatever and they knock it over, you know, you can still find your spot right there. Or somebody comes along not knowing what it is and pulls it up and walks off with it, chances are that pile of rocks will still be there. And that's how we're doing it. This dowsing stuff is not something that I've only put an hour or two into. I can tell you, I've done a lot of reading, I've watched a lot of video, and I've spent hours and hours and hours with rods in my hand, walking around, even if we weren't doing a well. I just wanted to get good at it and just get experienced at walking around with the rods in my hand, just to be reassured that these things really do swing. I mean, the rods actually do swing. You should just try it yourself. You could, you know, get some coat hanger wire or something, bend it 90-degree angle in it, you know, about 1.5 feet or whatever, a little longer maybe, long, little place for your handle. Hold them lightly, don't grip down on them, hold them kind of lightly so they can swing around. Have the tips down just a little bit so they're stable, and just go out and do a field somewhere and walk around. There's a good chance you're going to hit an area where those rods are going to swing, and you're going to be really surprised how good that works. And there's no guarantee. Sometimes that's like a rock formation down there, and it could be other things that could be under there besides water. But when you're dowsing for water on your property, there's a good chance that that's where they find water a lot of times, really, is in the rocks. That's what and this came from the guys that drill wells. I've talked to those guys too, the drillers. So it's been a big interest of mine. I've done a lot of research on it. Even though I've only doused a couple of wells that we drilled and found water on, this will be the third one. I feel pretty confident with all the studying that I've done and all the hours I've spent with these rods in my hand. So just want to let you know I do have, you know, a little knowledge about it, studying and just going out and trying it myself. I really think the most exciting part of the whole build when you're building a home out on property and all is drilling the well. I mean, if you don't find water, you got money into your land and all that, and you go and drill this dry hole, yeah, now what are you gonna do? You know, so it can be pretty exciting when they get this rig set up, and it's gonna cost some money. You know, you're looking, I don't know, 25,000 up, way over that. You know, you could go up, you could double or triple that easy. So it's very exciting, but it's essential that you get water out here on your property. And once you find water, it's just like, oh man, you get your generator hooked up to the well pump and turn it on, and the water's coming out of the water hose, and woohoo! And now you know you're gonna do it. You're gonna build this property for sure now because you got water. So it puts a lot of energy and charge into you. One of the things I'd like to tell you too is, you know, hopefully it's going to be fairly close to your house. In this case, we're about 100 feet from the house with this location right here. And you got your septic system now. You know, when you do your septic tank and your leach lines and all that, well, that has to be a minimum of 100 feet away from where you drill your well. So that's just something to keep in mind when you do your plot plan. Yeah, don't even think about doing a septic system anywhere around the well, because they're afraid that, you know, that sewage is going to seep down and could contaminate your water, which you wouldn't want that. But that's about it, man. I mean, I pretty much showed you it's not a for sure deal, but there's a real good chance. I think it definitely doesn't hurt anything to douse, and if anything, it's gonna help because I already had that experience. I've talked to other people and that have had similar experiences. So instead of going out and hiring somebody for a lot of money, I mean, you might want to give this a try yourself, because I would surely recommend it. And then if they don't find water, or if it's a real deep well or something, you have no one to blame but yourself. At least you won't be mad at somebody else and want to choke them. Somebody that you just gave $1,000 to douse it for you because he's a professional. And yeah, that would make me really mad. But when you do it yourself, you feel a lot of appreciation that you did a good job, and it just adds to the whole build, that, you know, doing as much work yourself as you can. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for another one. Remember, stay healthy and strong, and live your dreams, and be too stubborn to quit.